In the vast heart of West Africa, amidst the deserts of Sahara and the fertile lands of Sahel, there emerged an empire that would become a symbol of power, wealth, and cultural brilliance. This was the MaliEmpire, a kingdom that at its peak spanned across modern-day Mali, Mauritania, Niger, and other regions of West Africa. It was ruled by a man whose name would reverberate to the corridors of history, Mansa Musa. His reign would not only define the MaliEmpire, but also leave a legacy that would captivate the world for centuries. Mansa Musa, born around 1280 CE, came to the throne in 1312, but not through the typical line of succession. His rise to power was unexpected, as he was not the first in line to inherit the throne. Instead, Musa became the ruler after the sudden death of the reigning king, and the kingdom was left in a state of uncertainty. Musa, the grandnephew of Sundiata Keita, the founder of the MaliEmpire, was chosen by the royal court to lead. He assumed leadership at a time when Mali was already wealthy, but under his rule, it would reach unprecedented heights. As he took the reins, Mansa Musa quickly demonstrated an acute understanding of leadership, diplomacy, and governance. Mali was rich in resources, particularly gold, salt, and ivory. These commodities were coveted by neighboring civilizations in the Mediterranean and North Africa. Musa's first act was to secure and expand the empire's trade routes, further solidifying Mali's wealth. He focused on improving relations with neighboring states, establishing Mali as a powerful economic and political force in the region. The MaliEmpire was not only known for its wealth, but also for its vast cultural and intellectual achievements. Mansa Musa understood the importance of fostering both prosperity and enlightenment, and he sought to make Mali a center of education and culture in the Islamic world. He supported the building of mosques, schools, and libraries, which helped elevate the empire's status as a place of learning and religious devotion. His reign was a harmonious blend of material wealth and intellectual growth, two aspects that would become the defining characteristics of the MaliEmpire. Despite his wealth and power, Mansa Musa remained a humble man who adhered deeply to the teachings of Islam. His faith would become one of the driving forces behind his most famous act, his pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324. This pilgrimage, while a personal religious journey, will become the most significant event in the history of Mali and, indeed, in the history of the Islamic world. The journey was not only about devotion, but also an extravagant display of the empire's wealth and power. It was an event that would change the course of history and put the MaliEmpire on the map for the rest of the world to see. The scale of Musa's pilgrimage was unprecedented. His caravan, which stretched for miles across the desert, included 60,000 men. Among these were soldiers, slaves, merchants, and scholars, all accompanied by a vast number of camels, horses, and donkeys, each laden with precious goods. Gold, the currency of Mali, was prominently displayed, as Musa sought to demonstrate the immense wealth of his kingdom. Historians would later describe the caravan as a spectacle of unimaginable opulence. But Musa's generosity was not just a show for the sake of showmanship. It was an act of charity and religious devotion. As the caravan journeyed across the Sahara, it passed through major cities such as Cairo, where Musa's wealth stunned the people. The people of Egypt, in particular, were awed by the sight of the caravan and the gifts Musa bestowed upon them. Gold was distributed to the poor, merchants, and officials, but it was in Cairo where the effects of Musa's generosity would be most keenly felt. The vast quantities of gold he gave away caused inflation in Egypt, temporarily disrupting the economy. This unintended consequence highlighted the staggering amount of wealth that Musa had at his disposal. The pilgrimage took Musa and his caravan through several regions, each of which witnessed the lavishness of his entourage. However, it was in the holy city of Mecca where the pilgrimage reached its apex that Mansa Musa's legacy would be solidified. Arriving in Mecca in 1324, Musa engaged in fervent prayer at the Kaaba, the holiest site in Islam. His journey was not just about wealth, but about spiritual devotion. At the same time, Musa made significant donations to the poor and to the upkeep of religious institutions. His religious piety became as legendary as his wealth. In addition to his religious commitments, Mansa Musa's pilgrimage also had a profound impact on the architectural and intellectual landscape of the Islamic world. While in Mecca, Musa attracted the attention of various scholars, architects, and religious leaders. These individuals would later travel to Mali, invited by Musa to help build mosques, schools, and other structures. This resulted in the flourishing of Timbuktu, which would soon become one of the most famous centers of learning in the Islamic world. Timbuktu, which was already a thriving city in Mali, blossomed under Mansa Musa's patronage. He commissioned the construction of the famous Grandeur Mosque, a symbol of his devotion to Islam and his desire to make Mali a beacon of knowledge. Timbuktu would grow into a cultural and intellectual hub, attracting scholars, traders, and religious leaders from across the Muslim world. It was in this city that Mali's role as a leader in both trade and scholarship would be cemented, and it would remain a focal point for centuries. Mansa Musa's influence extended beyond the confines of Mali. His wealth and the grandeur of his pilgrimage piqued the interest of traders, diplomats, and explorers from around the world. News of the MaliEmpire's riches spread across the Mediterranean and beyond, with many seeking to establish trade routes to Mali. Musa's legacy also extended into Europe and the Middle East, where historians and geographers began to take note of the kingdom's existence. It is said that some European cartographers later included Mali on maps for the first time, thanks to the attention Musa's pilgrimage garnered. However, Musa's reign was not without its challenges. Though he expanded the empire's borders and secured Mali's place as a dominant power in the region, the latter part of his reign was marked by internal strife. After his death in 1337, the Mali Empire began to experience difficulties in maintaining the stability that Musa had established. Nevertheless, his influence remained as his successors sought to uphold the empire's legacy of wealth, culture, and intellectual advancement. Mansa Musa's death did not diminish the significance of his reign. On the contrary, his name would go down in history as one of the wealthiest and most powerful rulers the world had ever known. His empire continued to thrive for several decades after his death, though it eventually felt external forces and internal divisions. Yet, Musa's achievements as a leader, patron of the arts, and devout Muslim would endure for centuries. The legacy of Mansa Musa is a complex one, as it embodies both the splendor and the challenges of an empire at its peak. His wealth, though often the focal point of historical narratives, was only one aspect of his leadership. His commitment to the Islamic faith, his support for education and culture, and his diplomatic skills set him apart as a ruler of vision. He understood that wealth and power were meaningless without a foundation in knowledge, faith, and social responsibility. One of the most enduring symbols of Mansa Musa's reign is the city of Timbuktu. Not only was it a center of trade, but it became a shining example of what could be achieved when wealth was invested in education and culture. The city became a magnet for scholars and thinkers from across the Muslim world. The libraries and universities in Timbuktu were filled with manuscripts on a variety of subjects, from astronomy and mathematics to philosophy and theology. The legacy of intellectual achievement in Timbuktu would last for centuries, even as the Mali Empire began to decline. Musa's contributions to architecture are also remarkable. The Grandeur Mosque, built in Timbuktu, stands as a testament to his vision of Mali as a center of learning and spiritual devotion. The mosque, along with other architectural works commissioned by Musa, is considered one of the greatest achievements of West African architecture. These buildings not only serve as symbols of the empire's wealth, but also as symbols of its cultural and intellectual contributions to the Islamic world. Mansa Musa's pilgrimage to Mecca and his reign over the Mali Empire have inspired countless stories, songs, and legends. His name has become synonymous with wealth, generosity, and wisdom. His contributions to the Mali Empire and the Islamic world are immeasurable, and his legacy endures as a reminder of the power of leadership, faith, and vision. The story of Mansa Musa is not just a story of a rich king. It is a story of a ruler who sought to create a legacy that would benefit his people and the world for generations to come. As we look back on the history of Mansa Musa, we are reminded that true greatness is not measured by the wealth one possesses, but by the impact one has on the world. Mansa Musa's wealth was immense, but it was a commitment to culture, religion, and education that truly set him apart as one of history's most influential rulers. His reign is a testament to the power of a ruler who understood the importance of both material prosperity and intellectual and spiritual growth. Through his actions, Mansa Musa showed that the greatest wealth one can achieve is not measured in gold, but in the lasting legacy one leaves behind.